Information discussed on Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin Money. Talkin Money.
More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
All right. Excuse me. Good morning, everyone. This is not Jeff Tarbell. He is out and about on this Saturday morning. This is John Fotorero, and I'm fortunate to be here with Vince Mastracco. So we are going to lead you into 2 hours of excitement, a little golf, a little business, lots of little information. But Vince has not been on the radio, I think, now for several months. Has it been more than 6 months?
It has been more than 6 months indeed. So, and I'm sitting, this is a different chair for me. I'm used to being in your chair, John. And,
right.
And in fact, I'm messing with I just hit my...
yeah, you got to be halfway out of that.
Yeah, there we go. I think I'm starting to get something in my headset now.
You get your right ear if it's all the way in. If it's halfway out, you get both ears.
It went away. I had it.
All right.
We'll just keep trying this. But hey, good morning, swingers and investors. It's nice to be back on the air here at KHTK. I was on the air here from every Saturday morning from 1994 all the way up until December 22nd of last year. So doing a golf and other nonsense sports show for all of you. So it's fun to be back. It's good to see my friend Chris Verlad over in the control room through the glass. It's just a different angle. Actually, there's less glare from this angle. I can see you better, Chris. You're still not a good looking guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's feel bad for you.
So before we get started...
Actually, you are still a good looking guy. I need to be honest with that.
So let's get the 30 seconds from the good-looking guy. Let's see what he's got to say this morning.
Well, I was going to talk all about golf and business, but it sounds like you guys have that taken care of. So once again, U.S. is in the Gold Cup final. Everyone get excited, and I'm inviting everyone listening right now over to Alley Cats this Sunday, 1 o'clock. It's going to be insane. Even if you're not a soccer fan, even if you hate soccer fan, you're going to have a good time. Drink specials, you're going to hear a lot of songs, a lot of people getting excited, and hopefully the U.S. could win one more time, which would be 11 in a row. And hey, who would imagine that United States has a good-looking soccer team right now?
So will they be okay without their coach?
Yeah, they're going to be fine. It was the weirdest thing ever. I think I've been watching soccer for 5 years, 6 years. I've seen a coach get thrown out twice, so... a little different, a little upsetting, but they're going to be just fine.
That's one of the great things about soccer, though, that I like is there is a lot of emotion in it.
Oh, yeah, that's the whole thing. The whole thing is anticipation and just, like, explosion as soon as you see that first goal. So I'm going to be real excited for Sunday. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. I already know that right now.
Wow, okay. So we have big fans of soccer, lots going on there. And well,
what'd you have in golf? I'm curious to know what you were going to bring up.
I know. I don't have anything.
So you were leading me on. All right, I got the hook on that. You set the hook, and I took it.
That's right. So, Vince, you haven't been here. Tell me again, how long? Over 6 months? 9 months?
Yeah, over 6 months. So the last show, we did a remote broadcast at Hagen Oaks. And then over the holiday period, we didn't do any shows, so we were done December the 22nd. And for anybody that happened to be listening that day and all that, we had a blast. About 40 people showed up at Hagen Oaks just to attend the last show, and it was like, wow, there was. One guy sent me an email, a good friend of mine afterwards sent me an email that said that's a little bit like attending your own funeral. And so, and I thought, well, that's not one I know that I want to experience again, something like that. So if you put it in that perspective. So this is fun. I appreciate you and Jeff in inviting me in. Jeff can be like the Johnny Carson, take all the vacations that he wants. This is fun for me. I'll come in and do this and doing a financial show. So
there you go.
Yeah, we are going to get a little bit of golf worked in. I have invited my co-host, longtime co-host, Brett Taylor, to do a call-in today, and we'll go. There's been a bunch going on in Northern California. Of course, yes, we had the British Open. Yes, we had the Tahoe Celebrity Tournament. But the U.S. Junior Amateur Final is going on right now up at Martis Creek, or Martis Camp in Truckee, which I think is awesome for Truckee. Reno Tahoe Open comes up next week. We will also have the U.S. Senior Women's Amateur coming up at Cordoval. And then Fries.com coming up later in the year. So there's a lot going on.
That's a lot of activity up there.
There's been a lot going on with the kids. And so I asked Brett if we could just do a rundown on the kids, because I think it's always fun to put some of the teenagers on the radar screen. So we'll do that a little bit.
Sounds good. We got another guest coming in the first hour. She's going to come in and talk a little bit about how to buy real estate different way.
Yeah, a little different story. We have Samantha Hall from Polycomp coming in out of the Roseville office of Polycomp. And Polycomp is an IRA custodial company, I believe. And we'll let her explain it. But anyway, for anybody that's ever thought, gee, I'd love to have a rental property in my IRA, and you go, well, why would you want that? Well, there's a lot of tax benefits to that, and we'll let Samantha do that and talk about that. But right now, it's good to buy rental properties for the return, and that is what Blackstone has been doing out there, probably thinking about the appreciation effects later on, too, which they can sort of manipulate themselves by buying so many properties. But there are some advantages, and I've done several transactions now in my real estate part of things for people that have owned rental properties inside of a self-directed IRA. So we will welcome Samantha Hall in here when she gets here. We told her around 9:30, 9:40, so we'll take it from there. And really, I guess it's up to her to give us all the pros and cons and details.
Yes, absolutely. So doing the radio show for 18, almost 19 years. At the same time, I asked you when you came in this morning, well, so what have you been doing Saturday mornings?
Selling a lot of real estate this year. And it was a good time because I had a little hole in my heart. And all of a sudden, my real estate business, I am an agent with Line Real Estate out of the Roseville office, although I work, because I've lived all over Sacramento, I work all over the region. But my business accelerated dramatically this year. So I'm very pleased with that. I'm missing radio, and this is fun right now. And
awesome.
Doing this is just fun. So, but
Very
a
good.
little bit of golf. I did go up to the Tahoe Celebrity for a couple of days last week, and bumped into an old friend named Hank Haney, and Hank's always got a take for me. So a few things like that, and shook hands with a few of the other people that I've interviewed over the years.
Yeah, so I got to think 18, 19 years, you've talked to a few folks in your lifetime, and Hank sounds like he's always good for a giggle or an 800 number of his own.
Well, I met Hank Haney in 1995 when Adams Golf took off. I met him through Barney Adams, and Adams Golf went and did an IPO, which was looked like it was going to be good at the time, but it had its struggles, as golf equipment companies tend to do. But I've known Hank forever, and Hank really is more than just an instructor. He was Mark O'Meara's instructor for a long, long time, and then was Tiger Woods' instructor, and he wrote a book called The Big Miss, and of which Tiger doesn't really like, I wouldn't think anyway, or hasn't said anything publicly about. But Hank resigned after all of Tiger's meltdown, and Hank no longer teaches touring pros, but he does do stuff with NBC and Celebrity event. But Hank goes beyond basic golf instructing. He hosts a show on the Golf Channel called what the heck is it? I don't even remember it. But anyway, he has taught many people. He's had numerous celebrities on that he puts through the drills. Charles Barkley being his biggest one, and now he's been teaching Michael Phelps. So So it's a reality series of bringing these people to golf. But Hank also owns several golf courses in Texas, so you can have business conversations with Hank as well. He knows what it's like to get a call for a cash call. He knows what it's like to meet a payroll, and so there's a lot there.
Yeah, a lot of these golfers are business savvy. You spoke about Sir Charles. How did he do over the weekend?
Well, he actually has been losing weight. And he has started working out, or is continuing to work out. I don't know that he was working out for a long time when he was in the plus 300-pound club, but he injured himself. So he tried to play on Wednesday up at Tahoe, swinging one-handed. And I've seen him try to do that before, though, just because of and I've talked to Hank about this, what Charles has with all the hitches, if you go to YouTube or if you've ever seen his swing, hitch and stop and go and all the movement, it's called a focal dystonia. It's just a brain synapse. The brain doesn't fire right, and it's very, very difficult to overcome that stuff. So that would be one for a neurologist to call in, of which that would have been one of my future shows.
Right.
and who knows, maybe down the road somewhere. But so anyway, Charles did stick around for the weekend, though, because he is a big fan favorite there, and he's become sort of the unofficial ambassador. So he stayed all weekend, and part of the fun of that event is you will see Charles and all the guys out in the casinos in the evenings. And there's one over at Harrah's, there is a karaoke guy. And
right. I've been there once or twice.
Couple cocktails into things, and there is no telling who will be up there singing. So Marcus Allen was singing. I think it was either Friday night or Saturday night. I wasn't there, but I heard all about it.
So you spent the week. Who won that tournament?
Billy Joe Tolliver.
Billy Joe. Has he won before that?
Yes, he has won before. He has won several times before. And Billy Joe's a good quote, good old Texas boy, quarterback, and in fact, actually, a little unofficial nickname for him. We'd never tease him with it to his face, but we used to call him Billy Joe Turnover. So,
so that sounds like it was a good event. And what else is going on with real estate? You're seeing a lot of things. You're seeing activity. Can you give us your take on? I read things and we talk bubbles, we talk non-bubbles, we talk recorrections. You want to ad-lib to any of that?
I couldn't tell you if it's a bubble or a non-bubble or if it's a correction. I can only tell you that right now there is precious little inventory on the market, and it is causing a buyer frenzy at all levels, lower price levels, and it's even moving into the higher price levels. We are seeing more $1 million plus listings come on the market, and it is not unusual to experience multiple offers even on those, or for them to go fast. Properties are only lasting in the buyable areas, I would say $450,000 and below, about 2 weeks on the market max. And I've seen them go as fast as 48 hours after listing and have something. And occasionally we see something that you almost figure was somebody's pocket listing, because it'll show up as active 9 o'clock in the morning and be pending by 5 o'clock in the evening of the same day. So that's what's going on. It's a good time to buy because we're still, the market overall increased about 26% last year. So I don't know if that varies from your guys' statistics. I just took it as a 3-county region. I know Placer increased, one level, while El Dorado County another, and Sacramento County another way. But somewhere around, let's just say for kicks and giggles, 20% up. And we are seeing right now in stuff, if you're out there with, and I think other agents would probably back this, I'm seeing a price appreciation of about 4% a month going on right now, just in terms of at least the list prices coming out. So if we look at something at $220 on the first of the month, and you're trying to find something at $220, and a month later, you are probably going to find that at around $228 as a list. In there. Somewhere in there it goes up. There are some issues with appraisals coming in. I get a lot of calls from appraisals now. Every time I have a listing, I'll get maybe up to 4 different appraisers calling me saying, hey, I want to use this as a comp. And that's kind of interesting. So from there. But But yeah, appraisers want to know right now if we are using, if there's anything funny going on, any seller credits. That's the first question out of their mouth. The second question is, did you have multiple offers? And the third question is, how many offers? So, and I'll give you one. I had a short sale that I did in Roseville. It was it's called a site condo, but it was really a freestanding home in a condominium project. It was a B of A short sale, 2 loans on it, B of A and another lender. B of A was extremely cooperative. I will put that in there because we all know the history of that one. But anyway, they did a valuation on it. It differed from my valuation, but we listed it at the price that they did so we could do a pre-approved short sale. 43 offers later.
Wow.
43
And this is in the last
offers.
couple months, or?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hot property.
Yep.
Yeah, so your numbers are right. We have an article here by Sangre. Sacramento area home prices jump almost 30% in a year. We lead the 30 biggest metro regions. Based out of the senior economic for Zillow, says, you guys are on fire in Sacramento. So that's coming from the bigwigs at Zillow. Another commentation here. It's not a bubble, but it might feel like one as buyers are competing for these homes. And Pat Shea, president of Lion Real Estate, says we were a housing market that overcorrected in the recession, and now we're realizing the correction to get to the real underlying value of homes. And as you said, now there's a little more than a month's supply, even though it's going quicker. But buyers should be ready to persevere. Prices and interest rates likely to rise, and there's a lot of competitiveness out there. So that's good. I think it's fantastic.
Very competitive for offers. What are you guys seeing in terms of, let me toss the question back a little bit.
Sure.
Because when you're doing loans and people are coming in, they're overbidding properties. So if I list it for $228, I'll probably get an offer for $240. And maybe it's somebody wanting to do an FHA loan, and so we have a little more restrictive criteria in the appraisal, really in terms of the condition of the property, because right now you can sell them fast enough to where people are saying, maybe we'll skip this repair. Those little issues out there. But what are appraisers coming back with?
Yeah, so we're seeing same things. We're seeing some challenges. Appraisers are, going to estimate the value. It's their estimate of what they see, what closed comps there are. Lately, a lot of them are coming in at value. Some of them that go over and above are already coming in with contracts stating that they're willing to pay whatever in cash over the appraised value. So we're seeing that. And most of those are in the probably $250 and above range because people just don't have the cash. So we're seeing challenges, but we're also seeing everybody trying to work together. If there are some comps out there that maybe the appraiser doesn't know of, we're doing our due diligence on the front side to say, if I get a contract and I'm looking at comps and I'm going, okay, this house is probably going to comp about 208, 210. We're selling at 235. We'll call the listing agent and call and say, hey, what do you have? How did you get to this price? So that we can up front, because a lot of times what we're seeing is the listing agents will base their listing off of some items or some homes out there that haven't closed yet. Mm-hmm. And maybe they know that they're going to close in the next week or two. So a good strategy is to call the listing agent and say, how'd you get this? And then when they say, well, house 2 doors next to it's supposed to close the next 2 weeks at 232, and that's how we got, we'll wait on the appraisal. So that's a good way to do it. And we people have got caught with that several times. So why spend the money on the appraisal when they know something's going to close in a week or two? And that's how they're getting to that higher price. So that's a good strategy to go with.
Well, and I think the important thing that you have really touched upon there is, I have this discussion with buyers, and they sort of get it, but don't really realize. All of a sudden, we're having to go to some pendings to find comps, and the reason is, very simply, that the market is moving faster than the data can keep up. Because if you take all of the sales, let's say for the month of July, and you don't publish it, you accumulate it and publish your data August the 10th, then you're 5 weeks old with the data, and the market has been very rapidly moving on.
Yeah, a lot of changes in 5 weeks.
We can't really rely on on old data. So you got to go to pendings.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to take it to a break here. We'll come back with some new and more fascinating information. We're happy to have Vince Mastrocco here coming out of his short-term retirement. Feel free to give us a call at 339-1140. You can call us at 1-800-920-1140. You can text us in at 44-1140. And we'll be back here shortly to give you some more information and to catch back up with Vince.
Talkin' money.
Well, alrighty then. We're back to Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
No, not with Jeff Tarbell. Welcome back, everybody. I am Vince Mastrocco, and yes, you heard my voice on the air here from 94 all the way till December of last year, but it was with the Golf Talk radio show. I am very honored today to be joining the group in here. John Farderero as graciously let me do this welcome back thing. I haven't brought things back from a break for a long time now. So
I'm just taking lessons from the master.
I'm honored to be on Talkin' Money and doing a financial show, and you're going to even let us mix in a little bit of my favorite sport too. So, and that's just terrific. So I am happy to be here. It's a fun discussion on real estate. Yes, I am a realtor in real life when I'm in my Monday through Friday job, actually my Monday through Sunday job. And we are also joined right now by our first guest of the day, and we will get to you very, very shortly, and that is Samantha Hall from Polycomp, and we were talking about that earlier. You're going to talk to us about self-directed IRAs, of which people can do real estate in their self-directed IRAs, and I'm sure I know that there are other investments as well. So I don't know if your mic switch is on, but why don't you say good morning?
Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me out here. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Your mic was off because John had your mic off.
Oh, I flipped the switch. I know it wasn't me. Good morning, everyone.
Good job. I'm an amateur here. I got the professionals.
Well, I'm used to sitting in that chair, but John, you got to take the rein and you got to fly. So.
That's right. We show up today, and Vince says, "No, you're driving." Okay.
I don't think I ever sat in this chair as co-pilot. I don't think I ever did.
You look good
in
right
almost
there.
19
Backdrop.
years.
You got the backdrop of the Oakland A's and just going large.
And that's a fun baseball team right now. So
absolutely,
that is probably the most fun baseball watch. And I'm a Giants fan, but the A's
and they're not doing so good.
I'm a fan of all good baseball. Period. And the A's are a fun watch right now. So
absolutely,
as are the River Cats, and really. River Cats and A's are very interchangeable pieces, and I think from a business perspective, long term other teams may adapt that. I know the Red Sox tried to for a while with Theo Epstein, but he has moved on. He's moved over to the Cubs, and as GM, I'm not sure what's going on over there. So. But that's good business that they're all doing, and good baseball.
Absolutely. So speaking of that, let's get to a quiz question. I'm gonna go easy on everybody, but this is for some pair of River Cats tickets or Round Table Pizza Artesian Pizzas. We also have Hellwig Winery and let's see, Steve Oliver and Jesse J on August 24th concert up there at Hellwig Winery. The question, and don't think too hard about it, but the Fast and Furiously, it's Phil Mickelson. He's now won 3 of golf's 4 major championships. One of them, the U.S. Open, he has finished second. How many times? How many times is Phil Mickelson? And that's for River Cats tickets, Round Table Artesian Pizzas. We also have the Hellwig Winery tickets. So answer in, call in at 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can even text us at 44-1140, and we'll get you going there.
So if somebody texts in, though, you don't know who they are, so they'll have to call back in at least to Chris to pick up their tickets.
Yeah, or they can text us some basic information.
Their basic info? Okay. All
sure.
right, that works. And we should also offer that as we begin to talk with Samantha, that they may text in their questions about self-directed IRAs. So
absolutely.
Fair enough?
Just not as you're driving.
Don't text and drive. They don't like that.
That's right.
Pull over. All right, where do we want to take this from here, John?
So tell us a little bit. Who are you? What do you do?
My name is Samantha Hall, and I'm here today with Polycomp Administrative Services. We are a self-directed IRA custodian and IRA administrator. Most people just don't realize that you can do other things beyond stocks, bonds, and mutual funds in their IRA. And that's really where Polycomp comes in. Essentially, the IRS says you can invest in whatever you want with the exception of life insurance, collectibles, and you can't personally benefit. Other than that, it's wide open as long as you can get somebody to hold it for you. And that's where Polycomp comes in.
So if I want to invest in a winery and I want to roll over IRA funds into this investment, I can get into a winery?
You absolutely can. Now, the key is it's got to be strictly for investment purposes only. You can't invest in a winery that you then go run your personal business from. But you can invest in a winery because you think it's a solid investment that's going to generate more income for your IRA. So that's really the catch there. You can't necessarily start your own business or help your children out, but you can make investment choices that you understand better, that you feel more comfortable with, or something like a tangible asset.
Well, and for people that you get into your 60s, maybe your 70s, and you want less market risk or less exposure to the stock market, as we've seen the ups and the downs. So these are alternative investments that they can do. I mean, typically everybody thinks you either got to be in a mutual fund or you got to buy an annuity when you get old.
That is what everybody thinks, but that's just not the case.
It's not the case, yeah.
Yeah, you can absolutely. Right now we're seeing a lot more people want to get into property and actually go out and pick up a rental, and that's certainly doable. It gets vested in the name of your IRA. You use IRA funds to purchase it. And then everything flows in and out of that account. So it's a good way to get into something. Most people understand real estate a lot better than they do the market. So this provides them an opportunity to generate $1,000, $1,500 a month in income. You know, CDs and things aren't paying a lot right now. Interest rates are real low. But property is going to generate rental income.
Maybe let's just do a quickie hypothetical on that. Let's say that you have $150,000 cash to put in the stock market. What kind of a return are we going to get on that right now versus $150,000 cash to go buy a condo?
Right.
And so you buy a condo that rents for $1,000, $1,100 a month. In fact, I just did one for $125,000 sold. The buyer walked in. It was like transacted in 45 minutes. A buyer walked in during an open house and said, "What does this rent for?" Rented for about $1,000. And the buyer said, "Okay, how much is my insurance? And how much will I pay in property taxes?" I said, "Well, property tax at frozen at 1%, figure 1.25%. He figures it out and he says, "This comes out to about a 5% return, maybe about a 5.1 or 2% return." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm not buying it for the appreciation. Don't care about appreciation. I'm buying it for the return." So he then said, this was a beautiful story because he said, "We don't have an agent. Would you represent us?"
Oh, perfect.
And then he finished it with, "We have cash."
That's a bell ringer right there.
You know, they're my best friends.
Right. And that's the beauty of doing it with an IRA is you are a cash buyer. You come in, it's there, it's a cash buyer. It makes you a more attractive buyer. You can have a shorter escrow. You can get in much quicker. It's a smoother transaction than trying to finance right now.
So how much upfront information or how much upfront work does the buyer need to do before going out and looking? I mean, how much work is there to get the IRA set up properly in order to do so?
It's pretty straightforward. Really, it's more of a time thing than it is a paperwork thing. There's really only about 4 forms to fill out. It's a lot of your name, address, and signature, but you'll be used to that as you're doing escrow documents. Takes most companies about 2 weeks to transfer the funds, most of your brokerage firms or banks. Once it's here, it's just cash. Our turnaround time is 48 hours. So most people can go in, you make the offer in the name of your IRA. In our case, that's Polycomp Trust Company Custodian for your benefit IRA. It's a little longer. It's easier when you're writing the checks back in. And then you make your offer. If it's accepted, that earnest money deposit comes from the IRA. And our turnaround time is 48 hours. So it's a quick process. And you would go about it the same way you normally would when you're purchasing a property. The only difference is when it comes down to acting, to cutting checks, to signing paperwork, then you have your custodian act on behalf of your IRA. Process is pretty straightforward and simple, though. That's what we're here for. Make it easy for you.
Should we open this up to listener questions and we get any action on the quiz?
Absolutely. We did get action. We have several people. We have Tim here, I believe, is our winner, with 6 times runner-up. So that's Phil Mickelson. Has won 3 of the 4.
That was a softball, you know.
I know it was. But, it's early in the morning, so I had to see if anybody was actually up and awake. But, so he's 6 times second place. And as we talked earlier before we got on the show, you were saying you're hoping maybe he gets a win.
I've covered over the years over 200 golf tournaments, and so I've certainly encountered Phil in media centers and all of that. And I'd like to see him he's had an absolutely great career. If you really wanted to parallel it, you look at Jack Nicklaus with his 78 career wins and Arnie with his 62 or something like that. Well, Phil is the Arnie of this generation to Tiger. And I would love to see Phil win the career Grand Slam. There's been very few players that have done that, and the career Grand Slam being PGA Championship, British Open, U.S. Open, and Masters. So the last one that Phil needs to add is the U.S. Open, and what a story that would be, because he's finished runner-up 6 different times in that event.
That just amazes me that 6 times, but there's a whole bunch of stories there, so that's great. Let's open up the phone lines at 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. We have Samantha Hall here with Polycomp regarding self-directed IRAs. She can answer any questions that you might have. And we're about ready to get to another break here before our third segment. And I have another quiz question here. And I've realized this morning, the king of beers. Who is the king of beers? Anybody?
It's Budweiser.
Budweiser,
I was hesitating.
We see those commercials.
I was hesitating.
Not a trick question. Budweiser apparently is having some challenges in the U.S. as far as being dominant. And the question here is, what country are they looking to start their world domination out of? This is a big beer drinking country. Apparently they drink 50 billion liters of beer. This country is being overtaken. Budweiser's getting in there. They're starting to produce a lot of beer there. And the question is, which country is this?
I don't know.
I think I have a guess,
all
but
right,
I'll wait.
All right. So there we go. We're going to take a break here. And Chris is getting us rolled up.
800-920-1140 or 339-1140 if they want to call in on that question. Okay.
Absolutely.
Or text 44-1140.
There you go.
All right.
Thanks for being here.
Talking money.
And we're back to Talkin' Money. And here's Jeff Tarbell.
Welcome back. This is John Fotoraro. I'm here with Vince Mistraco and Samantha Hall. We're getting you guys going here as Jeff Tarbell is out. This morning we had a quiz question just before break, and we also have a caller here, Chris Holding, so we're going to get right to him. But our answer to our quiz question was the King of Beers is going after world domination, and their big hit right now is in China. They're looking at China, where they drink 50 billion liters of beer.
China is a big beer. I was not aware of that.
I was not aware of that either.
I would have thought Germany.
And we have Holland, Germany, Brazil, but 50 billion liters of beer is drank. So that's quite a bit. So let's get to Chris here as a question for Samantha, an IRA question. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing good. I own a property management company. In fact, I've been on Jeff's show before, so good listening to you guys this morning. I have a question for the Polycomp representative there. I purchased a couple of properties with my IRA, and one of them's turned out to be a good rental, and I thought, man, I'd like to keep that thing, but I'd also like to buy something else with my IRA. So is there any way I can refi that property and get it out of my IRA and hold on to it?
Well, unfortunately, you're not really permitted to do business with yourself. So you couldn't, say, get a personal loan and buy it from your IRA. The only way to take personal possession of that property would be to have it appraised and distribute it to yourself. The downside of that is you're going to pay income tax on whatever the total value of that property is. Another option to consider would be to maybe refinance it with a non-recourse loan. There are a few lenders out there doing loans to IRAs, and those a non-recourse loan to an IRA means the IRA holder does not personally guarantee it. They'll typically do about 50% loan to value. And the only recourse they have is to take back the property. So it is a very specific loan, but that would be a way to get some cash into your IRA to go out and purchase another property and still hang on to that one.
Which I think that's a very viable technique. So again, if you're dealing with returns and not messing with appreciation.
Exactly. It's a way to free up that cash to go out and pick up another property. Most of your traditional lenders won't do it, but there are a few. If you can either Google IRA lending or give me a call on Monday, 800-952-8800, and we can talk about that.
Let me get that number again.
It's 800-952-8800.
Chris, does that help you out?
Yeah, it does. I assume they're only going to probably give me a 70% cash out or something like that.
Yeah, that'll be something to discuss with them.
Yeah. Well, hey, good ideas. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks for calling in.
That dovetails to a question, and actually I think we'd like to hear more from listeners. That was a very good question. So 800-920-1140, 339-1140. Tell you what, I've got extra green fees. I know we're gonna do Timber Creek next hour, but for the next question to come in, I'll offer up. Chris is used to me doing this spur of the moment things. I'll offer a pair of green fees to Timber Creek, Sun City, Roseville. They were a longtime sponsor of ours, and they remain great supporters. So, and I've already let them know I was coming in to do the show. So
super.
So we'll offer a pair of green fees to the next caller with a question for Samantha on purchasing alternative investments, particularly rental properties inside of your IRA. My question that dovetails to, that gentleman that called in has a property in his IRA. So he's already seen the light and done that. What about somebody that owned a house, decided not to sell it, qualified for a move-up house, moved up, so they have a rental property not inside of an IRA? Can you do a conversion? Is there a conversion?
In that case, you can't, because that falls under the doing business with yourself or personally benefiting category. If you're thinking about doing property in an IRA, you want to make sure you purchase it directly from the IRA. Once you own it as an individual, your IRA can't buy it from you. So that really limits it there. But you can go out and pick up a new property. Mm-hmm. You can make your contribution. You can roll money over. But you can't take that property you already own. And
I
put
got
it in
another
your
question for you then, Samantha.
Sounds good.
So
I got an answer for you.
Let's say that this house I bought 15 years ago, and I do want to roll it over. So can I do a 1031 exchange to get into a new property and have the IRA purchase the new property from the 1031 exchange?
The 1031
At least
exchange
I got you to hesitate.
I just hate having to say no all the time.
Yeah.
The 1031 exchange is usually on a personal level. You're exchanging it with yourself as an individual. So that's probably still going to fall under prohibitive transaction.
Business with
Doing
yourself.
business
You gotta
with
start clean
yourself.
then.
You got to start clean.
Right.
If for somebody looking to get into real estate, maybe they don't have enough in their IRA, they don't want to take the loan. There are other ways to get involved in real estate with your IRA funds that isn't necessarily purchasing the property outright. A lot of our clients do what's called hard money lending. Maybe they don't have $150,000, they only have $50,000 they want to use, but you can loan it to an individual either on a construction loan, maybe somebody you know personally. Charging right now, it's like 8 to 12%, depending on who you go through. But then you're essentially the lender. You're not necessarily, you don't have the responsibility or the expense of owning that home in your IRA.
Perfect. So we have a few callers in. We have Bill from Rio Oso. He has a question regarding some income property. Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Good morning.
How are you?
What do you got for us, Bill?
I've got a question. I got a little 10-acre walnut ranch. It's considered income property. Financed it at 6%. Got about 10 years left on it. I was wondering if there are any programs out there to get that down into the 3 or 4% for a 10-year deal or maybe even a 7-year deal.
Yeah, you're looking at some ag lending, and I really don't have a lot of information with me, but I'll take down your number here, and I can get back to you this week with some potential options. But as you know, ag property, income-producing property, a lot of specifics to that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, Bill, let me get your information here. Hang on just for a second. I'll have Chris grab that if he can. And we're going to get to our next caller. Thanks for calling in.
Bill will also send you a pair of green fees to Timber Creek, Sun City, Roseville.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's get to Anthony.
How are you?
Morning, Anthony. How's it going?
Good. Want to know the tax issues or benefits by using your IRA money to purchase an investment property.
The tax benefit, it's the same as every asset inside of your IRA. It grows tax deferred. So all the income coming in is not taxable income to you. It's the same as if you had purchased stock that was paying a dividend or a CD that was paying interest. It just grows tax deferred in your IRA. The theory being when you're in retirement, you're not working and you're at a lower tax bracket. So as you draw that little bit of income out on a monthly basis, you're paying that at a lower rate than if you had purchased it here. You don't, however, get to say take the deductions from the property like you would a personal rental property because it's your IRA that owns it. So really you want to look at this more as here's a way to grow my retirement account faster and at a greater amount than I believe I would with stocks, bonds, or mutual funds versus, hey, this is great tax savings for me now. It's really, now if you purchase that property using Roth funds, Roth IRAs grow tax-free once you've had it for over 5 years and you reach age 59 and a half. So in that case, if you had purchased a property for $150,000 in a Roth and it's worth $300,000, you could distribute the entire property or sell it and have that cash tax-free. So there would be advantages to doing this in a Roth IRA that you may not have in a traditional IRA or personally.
Interesting. Hadn't even considered that.
A lot of people haven't. And now the restrictions for converting to a Roth IRA are gone. Now everyone can do it. So you can take that property or take your traditional IRA funds, pay taxes on it now, convert it to a Roth, purchase that asset you really think is going to grow fast or grow exponentially and have that in a Roth IRA so that you can kind of hedge your bets and have something that won't be taxable in retirement.
Well, excellent. That's good to know. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank
Great.
you.
Thanks, Anthony, for calling in. We're all sitting here with our minds going, interesting.
What can I do?
Well, and I'm not sure that I was even clear when we did it when you first sat down. If somebody buys a rental property right now for $150,000, I'm going to use 150 because the hundreds are kind of gone.
Right. That's a tough market.
But it might rent for $1,500 a month. So that's $18,000 a year. So then deduct maybe your insurance and property taxes on that and maybe a month's rent, so you clear maybe $14,000 a year. If we dumped $150,000 cash right now into a mutual fund, could we make $14,000 a year off of it? I'm not so sure there's a lot. I mean, we're having a good year in the stock market right now, but this is relatively risk-free in essence, as long as you keep it rented.
Correct.
So, and any appreciation, you alluded to appreciation, if it comes, that's just gravy on it. But you go ahead and you retire and you got Social Security, you've got a 401k that you rolled over to something, or maybe an annuity. All of a sudden, when you retire, if you're rented at $1,500 a month, you may take that as ordinary income. That becomes your income. So you don't need a lot of real estate to augment a retirement plan. A little bit of real estate is good. So,
very well said.
Yeah. Is that clear? I mean,
that's exactly clear. Yeah. You don't know what the market's going to do, especially as you get closer to retirement. You could have another year like 2008. And property values can go down, but rental income tends to stay pretty steady. When everything else drops, people start running. And that's income into your IRA that you may not get in the market. You don't have to worry about something happening in Europe and Greece and you're losing the value there.
Yeah. Definitely. We're all shaking our head. Right. Yeah, that sounds really good. So appreciate you being here. Samantha, you're going to hang in here with us.
Absolutely.
And it's a good conversation. You can reach us at 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. Vince has got something to say here.
Are we taking a break?
We are. We're going to take a break here so we can lead in the second hour.
I just want to tease our next guest, who is a friend of mine by the name of Jim Reed. He's an agent with Line out of Roseville. Hopefully Jim he's supposed to be calling in. He's up in the Gray Eagle area right now at a resort that he actually operates up there. But Jim has sort of formed a specialty in doing apartment complexes and fourplexes and that stuff, and they would dovetail very nicely as larger investments into setting it up within a self-directed IRA. So it's that alternative. It's that winery I talked about when you first sat down.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
All right, so we'll be back here shortly. And Vince, let's see. My good friend Tony Asaro says that you are a La Sierra Longhorn.
I love Tony Asaro, and he's got the best job in the world with the River Cats, and the River Cats are the most exciting minor league franchise in America. And the only one that has a park that rivals it is the Reno Ballpark Rivals, and they copied ours.
That's right, folks. We'll be right back.
Talking money.
And we're back. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Not with Jeff Tarbell, with John Forteraro and Vince Mastracco. And our special Vince Mastracco, me, guest hosting today. I'm honored. Thank you, and thank Jeff. We have a guest in here, Samantha Hall. And I want to see if I get this right, since this station has changed a few times since I've been here. And we are on KHTK Sports 1140. I think over the years I had Sports 1140, KHTK, CBS Sports Radio, but we are officially today KHTK Sports 1140, and we're talking about the sport of IRA investing at this moment in time. But we're moving over. Got a good friend of mine and a colleague from Lyon Roseville office, and his name is Jim Reed. And Jim has been in the business, I don't know, probably 25 years or longer, but he has done very well with selling. He's very knowledgeable about selling apartments, fourplexes, so you can put bigger investments into an IRA. I felt that it dovetailed nicely. We invited Jim to join us, and Jim, welcome aboard.
Well, thanks so much, Vince. Good morning, Samantha.
Good morning.
It's a great time to talk about this because, one, we have some inventory in this product. So in the duplex market, Vince, and the fourplex market, Sacramento has stuff you can go look at. And they're good investments. They have several good things working for it right now. In particular, is one that you have a need. So when you're looking at an investment property, not just can you find one, but you got to have people to come in and rent it from you as well. So unfortunately, there's several people who've lost their houses, short sale, bankruptcy. And there's a need for tenants for really, quite frankly, 2 years because they need that time to fix their credit, save some money. But again, as I started out saying, we actually have inventory in Sacramento to look at.
Which is, that's the first I've heard that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Tomorrow I'm going out, and I'm actually showing something that's below $200,000.
Oh, fantastic.
So being able to take money from the IRA and put it in a simple duplex, which with a property management company, such as what our company offers, is a great, easy investment to do.
Jim, and questions?
No, I was just going to say I absolutely agree. And that property manager really is key there, having somebody to take care of it. Because in the IRA, I don't know that I've mentioned this, you're not permitted to do the sweat equity anymore. You can't go in there, fix it up in between renters and take care of it. So picking up a duplex, using a property manager makes it a great investment and a lot more passive than trying to do it yourself.
And it makes it very simple. You get
Absolutely.
a statement at the end of the year for your taxes. And it's a very, I can't recommend good management enough.
Agreed.
Jim, can we talk a little bit about projecting returns? Because commercial investors like that tend to set value on things such as gross rent multiplier or cap rates. You want to give listeners out there a little idea of cap rates?
And it's a real simple formula. First of all, you have to start with your net operating income. So that is the key right there. Everything included, your taxes, your maintenance, your property management, divided by your purchase price ends up your cap rate. And so the days of 12, 15%, Vince, are gone. So these are very secure, safe investments, and they're doing 7%. and that's a great number to have, better than 2 or 1 from some of the CDs that are out there.
Yep.
But that's a great conservative without putting inflation and appreciation of the product as well. So that's always a bonus, to be able to have a step up as time progresses. You put it on the market, go from a duplex to be able to move into a fourplex.
Take it from there. All right. Go, unless anybody's got any questions. I still have more for Jim.
No, keep going.
Okay. Let's go. Last year, remember, we talked on this one quite a bit. You sold a small 9-hole golf course.
I did.
And so how do you fix value on that? And, of course, then there's some mechanics which would bring. What if somebody wanted to buy a golf course, Samantha, and put it inside of an IRA? Obviously, we're looking at probably an individual or partners or people with a little higher net worth, but they're out there listening to us as well. So.
Absolutely. And another way, people will, especially with larger investments like that, like a golf course, what we'll typically see is somebody putting together a deal or a partnership in the form of an LLC or an LP, and then you're having people come in piecemeal. They're becoming partners or limited investors in the partnership, pooling their money together in order to purchase that golf course or larger property, apartment complex, something like that. So there really are a lot of creative ways to pool together with other investors in order to get into some of these larger properties.
And Samantha, it's okay to do step up like that.
Absolutely,
correct?
yes.
So
absolutely, yeah.
You're with a duplex that then you sell and move into a fourplex that then rolls into a golf course.
That's absolutely correct.
America.
That's right.
That's it.
It functions like just doing it personally. You get your realtor, you sell it, that you have them find you a new property. The difference is instead of you writing a personal check, your custodian writes the check. Instead of you being the one that officially signs the escrow documents, your custodian signs those.
But Jim, now, all right, you set a price on a golf course, but you're bringing a buyer in, and how does it, if they haven't, I would typically think that they won't see a net operating income statement until an escrow is opened. Correct? Is that a good assumption, or are you going to supply them with?
Some letters of intent, Vince, and the quality of the buyer. Are they just snooping around a little bit? The networking with the agent that's representing them. Are these people really for real, or are they just shopping around? Because it does sometimes cost you some money to go to your accountant to put a whole portfolio together to give a prospective buyer your documents. So, again, when you go through those documents, you see that the car that you're putting on there and some of the other incidentals that may not be part of the business itself that you kind of throw out to the side, and then you really see your actual costs of doing business.
There you go. Okay.
So, restaurants, golf courses, first of all, you have to be making money, Vince. So real hard to sell a golf course that's losing a lot of money, or a restaurant, or anything in that fashion. So most of the time, you can look at your net operating income and multiply it by 5 times, for instance, and that's a rule of thumb in some businesses that they use.
Net income times a multiplier of 5.
Right.
Okay.
Can equal a purchase price plus your inventory or hard assets.
Okay.
In that situation, the golf course itself.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Now let's go into, let's say we've bumped our fourplex up and we're going to buy we want to buy a 40-unit apartment complex.
Okay.
Apartments tend to have these days. They're pretty much everybody's going leases, or once you move to month-to-month rent, they bump up the rent. But I don't know. Let's say an 85% occupancy rate overall on average, and you can see statements. How are you putting that one together?
Well, those become a little more difficult, and also, Vince, it doesn't have to be in your backyard now. It could be in Central California. It could be in Northern California. With technology and a good property manager, that product can be anywhere you want it to be. So now you can look all over the place for something that makes sense. And again, it's about the numbers and the true numbers. So as I mentioned, the car, you then have to really look at the books to be able to put a rule of thumb on where you're going to get your money back on that. So, for instance, you work just like we did on the cap rate. You say that you're only going to look at something that's going to give you a 9% return. So you then take your 9% and divide it backwards to see what the purchase price can be on a product that you're willing to spend.
I got you. Okay.
Again, I have to thank my Jesuit colleagues for teaching me geometry. So it actually did come into use in my later life.
All right. So now, if anybody is interested in getting with you and looking at some investment property,
super.
Call Jim Reed. Go ahead and give the number. Jim Reed, you can call me as well, and I will refer you to Jim and take a referral fee.
Absolutely. 916-782-0508.
Okay. 782-0508. That's Jim. He's out of the Lion office in Roseville with me. We talk more sports than we do investments, but that's okay.
Thanks so much for having me on, and it's a great show.
All right. Jim, have a good day.
Good to have you on, Jim.
Bye-bye.
All right. Where do we take it from there?
That's a lot of information.
We're rolling right around the investment thing. Yeah, this is Investment 101 here today.
This might be the 300 class. So, Samantha, tell us again how to contact you. You're with Polycomp. You work with just IRAs?
We do I work with just our self-directed IRAs, but Polycomp also does qualified plan design and administration. So if you're a business owner, you want to set up a 401k, something along those lines, and either want a really creative plan design, or maybe you want to be able to do alternative assets in there, we can also help you out with that. I primarily focus on our self-directed IRA side, so maybe you've left a job and you need to roll over money, or maybe you're self-employed, something along those lines. We can help you there. You can call me locally in Roseville at 916-773-3480, or our 800 number at 800-952-8800. And you can check us out on the web at www.polycomp.net. It is .net. .com's a phone company.
Polycomp.com is a phone company?
Yeah, the big conference call lines, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're .net. You can always reach us there.
So used to saying .coms. Well, .net. Polycomp.net.
That's right, .net.
All right. Well, John, tossing it over your way.
Well, great. I was just looking at, we were talking to break, a little information, Sacramento, what we have going on, some excitement in the area. We've been talking about the River Cats playing, one of our sponsors, also the downtown arena coming. And I'm sure most of you caught this, but Sacramento's downtown rail yard near sale to a local developer. That local developer being Larry Kelly. He's the individual who built the Stanford Ranch community in Rockland in the 90s. He also turned the former McClellan Air Force Base into the successful park that it is. And there's a lot of excitement with him coming into it. His goal is to be the owner of the entire site, so hopefully we can finally get this going somewhere. I think there's a lot of good information. We've heard possibilities of a stadium, multi-purpose stadium. So we have a little trifecta between the River Cat Stadium, downtown arena, the rail yard. I think would be fantastic.
That would be an awesome downtown.
Doris Matsui says, this agreement will move us toward a Sacramento rail yard that will be true to Sacramento's unique history, blending the planned transit station, museums, riverfront with new businesses and residents. And I think she's absolutely right there. So I'm hoping that comes through here. That is definitely big news coming to the area. There is a little bit of work to be done with Union Pacific as far as some potential cleanup that may, they're still working out some details on that.
But I saw that, and I thought it was done, because wasn't that site actually a Superfund site at one point in time? I wonder if they found more contamination.
I don't think they're done.
Or they just haven't completed the work?
I don't think they're completed.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's big news. Other interesting news I saw, and I'm not sure about Samantha or Vince here, but Sears is looking to now sell high-end products. Would either of you go to Sears to buy a $4,400 Chanel handbag or a $33,000 Rolex watch at Sears?
Probably not. I tend to not get my nice handbags at the same place I'll buy my lawnmower. It's just a little awkward for most women to go in and have both of those things going on at the same time.
So Vince calls, hey, honey, you can go down and get your new handbag at Sears. I just thought it was interesting, but they're, in addition to the handbags, Rolex watches, they're selling $445 sunglasses. I can't even pronounce the name of the high-end women's boots, along with different dresses at Sears.
Yeah, I know I see that commercial, and the gals says, I got it at Sears, but I just don't, that's going to be a tough sell.
All I can say is, wow. A Rolex at Sears, it's, wow.
Not your base model either, your $33,000 model.
Yeah. Oh.
So since we're talking about that, we're going to roll to break here, but I have found this interesting also. And people talk about price of gas. Everybody's traveling right now, going on vacation, holiday, call it what you want. But gas prices are up. They're always up. They just keep going up like everything else. The quiz question here before break is, what is the highest price per gallon? So I'm going to name 4 products. 1, Jack Daniels. 2, gasoline. 3, Visine. And 4, Scope. If you priced them per gallon, which is the highest price per gallon of the product? Is it Jack Daniels per gallon, gasoline, Visine, or Scope? That is the quiz question. That is for River Cats tickets. That is for Hellwig Winery events or Round Table Artesian Pizzas. We're going to leave it at that, give you some thought, make you think a little hard, but think about it per gallon, not by what you're paying it, buying the ounces, but by gallon. We're going to be back here shortly.
Money.
And we're back. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
All right. This is John Fotorero. I'm joined with Vince Mastracco and Samantha Hall. We're busting out a little disco dancing here, get ourselves fired up the second hour. And we've been talking a lot about real estate, investing with your self-directed IRAs, Roth IRAs, which is quite the plan there to possibly change over at current tax rates.
That's right.
Put your money into the Roth IRA, so that's pretty interesting. We also, just before the break, apparently this was another easy one for the quiz question. Per gallon, what costs most? Jack Daniels, gasoline, Visine, or Scope? And by a long shot, Visine per gallon would cost you $995.84 for a gallon. So if you're a allergy sufferer, a gallon of Nasacort nasal spray would cost you $2,615.28. So when you're getting that gallon of gas or the gallon of milk, don't fret. You're in good shape. So we did get a winner there.
So I shouldn't care about the $5.50 a gallon gas fill up. That
just not unless you want to walk.
Once it gets here. Oh, dear. Now, this segment, first off, Samantha, thank you for hanging with us. We had talked about a segment, but it's nice to have you in here and to field any questions, I would believe. And actually, I know that. I don't just believe it.
Well, thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Your input has been good. My former co-host, Brett Taylor, is he up on the phone? He is. We were going to do a golf segment. So, John, can I just steal some of this time and talk a little golf?
Absolutely.
For 19 years, I did it. So, all right.
Well, let's connect with Brett, and I'm going to let you run with it.
All right. Folks, Brett Taylor is on the line, and so any of you that ever listened to us by accident or by design caught Brett and I together over the years here, and so it was just we did our frick and frack. Brett, good morning to have you. Good morning, and yeah, nice to have you with us.
Mostly by accident, I'm sure.
Hey, a lot has been going on in golf. Everybody watched British Open. We had the Tahoe Celebrity last weekend, but there's a lot going on with the kids, and so why don't we run down and get the kids on the radar screen?
Well, I'll tell you what, they're going into the finals today. Davis Riley and Scotty Scheffler are going into the finals. Have you watched any of this, Vince? If you haven't seen any of it,
and we're talking about the Junior Amateur Championship up at Martis Camp?
Yes.
I have not watched any.
They are playing some great golf. I just turned on a little bit this morning and caught some of the old. It was a round or two ago. Some of the best golf you've seen, and it's fantastic to see how much these guys. There are so many good young players that can all win golf tournaments more than ever in the history of the game. They can play, and these guys are just going at it, head toe-to-toe, and playing some great golf. And
it is amazing.
The local from Roseville.
Yeah.
Yeah, got through to the round of 16, lost in the round of 16, but had a really phenomenal tournament.
Still, we had numerous kids from Northern California qualify for the junior amateur, but Corey Eddings, he was actually the 7th seed. He got through to the round of 16, and he lost 4-3. So he put up a fight. Corey Eddings is from Roseville. Shall we go through some of the other kids who at least were in stroke play?
Go for it.
All right. We had Daniel Connolly from San Francisco. We had Maverick McNeely. I love that name, from Portola Valley. And let me get on the list. Justin Sue, who actually made it through and qualified for match play. Justin Sue from San Jose. I'm looking at Ame Poria from Morgan Hill. And let me keep flipping through my pages. Blake Abercrombie from Rockland. Tyler Collier from Chico. And how about Cody Reeks from Auburn?
Yeah.
So those kids, congratulations to all of you. To make it to and qualify to play in the United States Junior Amateur, a national competition, and really an international competition these days, is wonderful.
What is that age segment?
Brett,
is it 18 and younger?
It's actually, isn't it 17 and younger? 17 and younger,
okay.
yeah. So,
18 and they're done. But you're right, Vince. It's just an honor to tee it up and play in a national championship, and for those guys to get that far is fantastic. On the girls' side, Casey Kathria, who was low amateur at the U.S. Women's Open, made it into match play, got beat in the quarterfinals of the U.S. Junior back in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Another fantastic tournament. She's having a great summer.
And Casey Kathria is interesting to me. She lives in Livermore, I believe, but she played all of her junior golf with the Sacramento First Tee. And of course, Sacramento's First Tee is really probably one of the, if not the premier First Tee organization in the entire U.S.
Right.
So
she heads to Oklahoma State in the fall.
Oh, really? So she's going to, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's another great tournament. And along those same lines, coming to Northern California in September, Vince is the U.S. Women's Senior Amateur at Cordoval.
And I don't know that I had. Have we got qualifying is not done for that yet?
No,
so
hasn't even happened. Can't talk about who's in it yet, but that's coming up in our neck of the woods and something to keep an eye out for. So I'll tell you what. They also had the Trans up at Schaefer's Mill. Schaefer's Mill is hosting the U.S. Amateur qualifying. We're there at Martis Camp there for the USGA Junior.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of things happening. Reno Tahoe Open next week.
Yep.
Don't forget about that. Hey, we can mention that as well. We've got Scott McCarron obviously playing, and Kevin Sutherland already in the field, and a few young kids.
Yeah, you got a student actually even. Yeah, that's going to try to Monday qualify.
Kevin Lucas and Brian Knoll got through the pre-qualifying, so they have Monday qualifying this Monday. And John Catlin, Jesuit product.
John Catlin, Jesuit. Kevin Lucas from Folsom High. And
Brian from Folsom as well.
And from Folsom as well. So that really speaks well of the junior and even through high school golf programs that we have in this area. We're a year-round golf market, and it's pretty doggone good to have that many kids you can go root for. These are now young professionals playing on the mini tours, and they're going to go Monday qualifying. There will be 2 slots open, so whoever shoots the 2 lowest scores on Monday will get to play in the Reno Tahoe Open. So, and that'll be next week up at Montreux in Reno.
And then one of the things that's probably on my radar more than anything next week is Inbee Park going for a 4th major in a row at the British Women's Open.
You're right. I hadn't even thought about that.
Right.
I hadn't even thought about it.
Already, just in rarefied air, winning the first 3 majors of the year. The only other that I'm aware of is Babe Dietrichson did first accomplished that feat years ago, obviously 1950, going for 4. Now we got a little wrinkle, don't we? Because they've added a 5th major to the LPGA.
But you know me, I always have been the non-traditionalist. I'm perfectly happy with 5 majors, and I think the PGA Tour should do it by adding the Players Championship as well.
If she got through, if she wins next week, and if she wins the Avion, do we have to call it something different, though? What are we going to call this thing? It's not a Grand Slam. That's 4.
I don't know. We need to, Grand Slam Plus.
Yeah, Grand Slam Plus.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, all right. And we probably, because now, did you guys in here see any of the British Open last week and Phil Mickelson's victory?
I did not.
I saw a bit of it.
Not a golf fan, are you, Samantha?
Not a golf fan. I'm learning.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's, again, with Phil, seeing him runner up again and then going into the Open to win it, I personally just think it's good. It's good for the sport.
Brett, your thoughts on Mickelson's win and the course, Muirfield?
Historic win, historic final round. And I'll tell you this, too, Vince. I think it's finally, Phil is really coming around and finally just putting the whole picture together and really playing smart, playing patient, doing what he needs to do, attacking, being aggressive, but only when he needs to. And really that's made the difference at both at Marion in the U.S. Open. I thought he obviously had a chance, and outside of a couple wedge shots, he was right there to win that. And then pulling off what he did at Muirfield is just phenomenal. And I think it goes a lot to him really maturing as a player, getting going. We talked off the air yesterday about his, playing the 3-wood and making a change there. And I think that just kind of fits right into the whole outlook that he's taken. He's more patient. He's just not firing at will. He's being patient, picking his spots, and all of that's kind of coming. You don't need a driver, didn't need a driver, and as strong as that 3-wood is, he hits that, a country mile as it is. So I think he's just playing smarter and making good choices. I think he's got a good chance to pick up a U.S. Open and complete his career Grand Slam.
And regarding the 3-wood, and of course I've got the kind of the litany of, which I'll read off in a second, of Phil changing clubs. Part of the story with Phil Mickelson always is what set makeup is he going to bring to a given major tournament, and that's just kind of a fun thing. He's an equipment nut for all of that. But the carrying 2 3-woods last week and not carrying a driver, one, Muirfield didn't really require it with the guys that hit it as far as Phil does. But I think maybe it was more of a strategic move all the way. So maybe the whole mindset was there. But the other thing, and Brett, you being an instructor, maybe on this one, that somebody said that Phil likes to hit down on the ball, and he's always been wild with the driver. And so the driver has an up angle of attack, where the 3-wood has a down angle of attack. So maybe that helped him.
It might very well have done the trick for him. You still fit the club, Vince, to that angle of approach. So how the club's coming into the golf ball, you're still dialing in the specs to match how the player swings the golf club. So finding a driver, but you know what? When he went to the fade bias driver versus the draw bias driver and carried 2 drivers, where was that, at Augusta one year?
Here we go. I'll run the list down. John, you've had a little golf. Samantha, you'll just have to bear with this. At the 2006 Masters, he showed up with 2 drivers, and that was the fade bias and the draw bias driver. At Winged Foot, where is perhaps his most wrenching loss in a U.S. Open, he showed up with a 64-degree wedge. And he simply told the press that when he did that because he felt that he needed 64 over 60-degree wedge. So, and then at the 2008 U.S. Open, which you and I were both down covering at Torrey Pines, he showed up with no driver. And then at the 2013 Masters, he had a Frankenwood. So, he sort of tried 2 3-woods again. And then at the British Open, he's got a hot 3-wood. He's got 2 3-woods in his bag. So that's kind of Phil and his equipment history.
In a nutshell. That's what he does.
Yep.
But I really think, Vince, that the big thing was the change in strategy and how he went about approaching the round and how he picked his spots and how he was patient. And he didn't back off at the times that he needed to make birdies and rattled them 4 out of the last 6, birdieing 4 out of the last 6 to win by 3 is just phenomenal play.
He won it all the way. There was no gift in there. He won it. He took it.
Went out and grabbed it.
So
that's how you like to see a major.
You guys got anything for Brett?
Just with all the different golf going on here in Northern California, Tahoe, Truckee, what's probably the most spectatorship for these events that are coming up or playing right now today?
John,
Spectatorship, as far as
the most attractive. Well, the junior amateur.
To watch the golf and do all that. The PGA at Reno Tahoe is a great place to go, and a great. I love the golf course and you enjoy the golf course. Martis Camp, though, would be a fantastic place if you had a chance to get up and watch the boys play.
But the final's going on right now.
The final's going today, right? So it'd have to be a jump up. Cordoval coming up for that's a great.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good track.
Yeah.
So yes, indeed, and of course, if you missed the Tahoe Celebrity, it is actually called the American Century Championship, and we always had to say it right. I would write it when we were broadcasting from the range there, but with all the celebs in, we talked about Charles Barkley, Michael Phelps was there last week, all of the actors and everybody that was in there. That's a wonderful spectator event, and the guys will banter with the crowds, and the 17th on the 17th fairway, which is a par 3 at Edgewood Tahoe, all the boats pull up. So it's golf on steroids, really. The boats pull up and people are throwing footballs. So you get John Elway throwing people passes. You get Jerry Rice catching passes. You get Brett Saberhagen, some of the pitchers, throwing wiffle balls, and it's fun.
Yeah, I was up there last year for that, and it's pretty interesting because people that obviously go there all the time have their footballs with their pen properly attached and taped on, so that when they throw the spiral, they catch it, they're able to take out, sign it, signature it, send it back, and I'm like, wow, this is
I think the players up there get it, Vince. They don't play for a living, so that's not an issue, and they're there for to kind of do that with the fans and interact with the fans. I think you're right. That's a really great family event.
It is a good, fun family event, and it is good. And then, there are always about a dozen players. I lost money on Steph Curry last week, but he actually had the lead on Saturday night and then just lost it on Sunday. And I thought, if he wins, he went off at 50-1. So it wasn't exactly a retirement fund for me, but it was going to be some fun money. But about a good dozen of the guys are very, very fine golfers. The rest of the field, they're up there to sign autographs, do interviews, meet and greet fans, and that's what they do. And they do it all week long up there. So, all right, unless you got anything else, guys, you got anything for Brett? We can shake him, let him go back to the lesson tee and go to work.
No, it sounds great. Appreciate you having on, Brett, and we're going to let Vince take us to break. He had a quiz question for us.
I do have a quiz, and Brett knows this one, actually.
And this is for some Timber Creek, Sun City, Roseville.
A pair of green fees at Timber Creek, because Brett knows this guy as well as I do. Who and how old was the winner of the Sanderson Farms Championship? Sanderson Farms Championship. Who and how old was the winner? But I will give you a couple of clues. 800-920-1140, 339-1140. But this particular player has been on our show numerous times, but he's memorable for bending a putter shaft on his head because he was angry for missing a putt at the 1997 Verizon Heritage. And he's also somewhat famous or infamous for falling into a water hazard during the 2007 President's Cup. So some of you may remember that. Who was it? And you know exactly who I'm talking about, Brett.
Yes, I do. I'm hanging up and calling right back.
Awesome. Thanks again, Brett. Great having you.
Thanks, Samantha.
Thank you.
All right. This is the Talkin' Money Show. And we're going to come back and talk about more money right after these messages.
See you soon.
Talkin' money.
And we're back. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
All right, everyone, welcome back. This is the last segment of our 2-hour segment. I'm thankful for having Samantha Hall here with Polycomp, also Vince Mastracco, the legend with Lion Real Estate. And We're glad to be back. Thanks for the call-ins. We still have our lines open here for Samantha Hall with any questions regarding IRAs, self-directed IRAs. Samantha, give us a little bit of just your contact information again.
It's Samantha Hall at Polycomp. You can reach us at 800-952-8800 or locally at 916-773-3480 or try us on the web at www.polycomp.net.
All right, very good. And Vince?
And my information, these days it is Vince Mastracco of Lion Real Estate, Roseville office. I go with just my cell phone, 916-220-7888. That's 220-7888. And the 7888 on a regular old dial pad spells putt. 220-PUT. That is me.
All right. That's a good reminder.
And yes, residential real estate to buy or to sell, to list or to buy. And I have done 3 transactions now with people buying and selling within their IRA. So I am experienced at doing that. So it's just a little tricky the first time through, or if you hit a title officer that really hasn't done it. But it's really pretty easy. You just coordinate things. And so, that's all it is.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's what Polycomp is really there for, to make the process easy for you, to walk you through it, hold your hand, and we'll coordinate with that title company, with the realtor, make sure everything happens smoothly and timely. And
we do have a winner to the quiz question, and this is one of my favorite guys to ever interview, PGA Tour player. The question was who and at how old was the winner of the Sanderson Farms Championship? Sanderson Farms Championship is what we call an opposite field event. And so it was opposite the British Open. It was a PGA Tour event, and it was won by 49-year-old Woody Austin. Anybody that ever listened to us knew we had Woody on probably, maybe half dozen times over the years. He's a nut, and he's a fun guy. I love him. Very, very self-deprecating guy. And he is known for, back in 1997, whacking himself in the head with his putter and actually bending the putter shaft. He whacked his head so hard.
Yeah, see, I thought he just took it and kind of put it over his head. I didn't realize he was whacking himself in the head.
The story was, and I interviewed Woody and said, what was up with that? And he said, I had gone in for a prescription change on my glasses and we didn't catch it. And his putting just totally deserted him. And he got just totally frustrated that he couldn't putt anymore. And these guys, that's their livelihood. In professional golf, you only make, there's no contracts. You only make what you earn that week in the event and by how high your finishes are or making cuts. And he was missing cuts. So he got completely frustrated and they eventually found his glasses prescription was off. And then in 2007, he had a nice comeback in golf going, and he made the President's Cup team, which is an all-star team, essentially. Top 12 players in that year will play a top 12 international team. And he was stepping back, and he fell into a water hazard.
Oh, man.
So that's our man, Woody Austin.
Very nice. So a pair of tickets to Timber Creek out in Sun City. We appreciate that, Vince. And this is John Fotorero. I'm with Comstock Mortgage, co-host of Talking Money here for Jeff Tarbell. That's out this morning. We've been covering real estate. We've been covering multi-unit properties. We've been covering some self-directed IRAs, how to use your IRA. So if you have any questions, you can call us in at 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. I had on the text line, we were talking also about downtown development. I think that's a huge thing for Sacramento right now, is getting downtown developed. We had a text line saying, was in Sacramento last night, except for a few hobos and a ghost town. Needs some major shot of development. So I'm not sure what part of town he was in, but I agree that it's going to be fantastic with all the new things coming to downtown Sacramento, especially if we can get that rail yard developed. That'll be fantastic. So as that happens, real estate will continue to grow. It'll continue. The builders are out there building homes, and I think more people are getting equity in their properties, so they're starting to list them. They're starting to look at moving. It's always nice, whether you're buying, selling, or not, if you have equity in your property, or even if you're at par, per se, your shoulders feel a little lighter. You just feel better. So, Samantha, tell us a little bit about, with Polycomp, what are just some basic things that you see that, even if they're basic and simple to you, what's happening with these self-directed IRAs, using them for real estate or trying to, or what are some of the just basic things you see?
Yeah, you can really get creative with your self-directed IRAs. We're finding a lot of people wanting to get out of the market as it gets volatile, as it's going up. You want to hang on to it a little bit longer. But people really want to invest in what they know, whether that be real estate, trust deed investing, or hard money lending, partnerships. Just about anything in the world can be structured under a partnership. Private stock in hard assets like gold or silver. We're seeing a lot more people wondering, what else is there for me? What else can I do? And the truth is there's a lot out there for you available to invest in. You're not stuck just doing what your bank and brokerage firm offers. You can really get creative and invest in what you know and understand and believe in.
What drives that the most? Is it people's fear of stock market volatility that drives some of these?
I think it's people's fear of stock market volatility, and it's also just saying, hey, I'm doing really great in my personal life in this business. I'm doing great in real estate investing personally. I don't like what my portfolio is doing. So just that aha moment, realizing I can do with my IRA funds, with my retirement funds, what I'm doing with my personal money. So it's really just people looking to diversify more, to just get something tangible, do something they're comfortable with.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are there any upfront costs to set up a self-directed IRA?
There are. But the beauty of Polycomp is we bill flat fee transaction based. We treat all of our customers the same. We're going to give you the best service, whether it's a $50,000 or a $500,000 account. At Polycomp, it's about $100 to set up. There'll be a transaction fee based on the structure of your investment, and then a quarterly per asset charge. And that's, most of our competitors will go percentage of value. So it really starts to make a lot of sense as you're investing in things like real estate, where the value is going up right now.
Interesting. Okay.
I had a question that just went south on me here.
Well, that's okay.
Oh, yeah, we were talking at a break about what is that sweet spot? A lot of people have how much in their IRAs that they're looking to get out there and possibly use as a real estate purchase.
Typically, we're seeing the sweet spot in investment in real estate is under $200,000 range. There's not as much inventory out there right now, but there is still inventory. But that tends to be the sweet spot between 200 and 250. But really, right at or around 200,000 is where most people are going. It's enough to get you a single-family home, generate good income to your IRA, and really leave some left over for your other investments.
That's probably about the sweet spot of what everybody's looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where we're getting the 10 and 12 and 14 offers on the properties, is that 200, 250 range in there.
And that's the benefit of using your IRA, is that's all cash. You don't have to worry about going in and worrying about your financing or something coming in. You can show your statement and say, look, this is a cash offer with my retirement fund. So it really does make you a more attractive buyer. It gives you a little bit more room to set those terms to close and bump your offer up that list of the 12 and 14.
That's a great point, because a lot of people are out there, and I hear it all the time. They're like, I keep, because we work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and they're using FHA or conventional or what have you, and they're like, wow, I keep getting beat out by these cash buyers. I can't believe all the people that have all this cash. Well, most of them probably didn't start with the $200,000 sitting in their savings account. They may be pulling it from their IRA or what have you. So definitely a great source, a great use, and apparently we have Vince here that's done several transactions with it, so that's great. Samantha that knows how to put it together and very knowledgeable. So I think it's great.
Well, thank you very much.
We have a few minutes left. If anybody's got a final question regarding setting up a self-directed IRA, maybe give us a call at 800-920-1140 or 339-1140. Grab us while you got us. So, right. And especially Samantha, because I'm easy. You can invite me back anytime you want, John. But
we're going to do that. Samantha, I'm guessing with a lot of these IRAs, self-directed or self-employed folks that have predominantly are willing to do this? Or?
Yeah, you have a lot of self-directed folks. And also, when you change jobs, maybe especially when a lot of people were laid off, now they're back to work, they're hiring it, your retirement account follows with you. You have to take it out of your former employer. And what most people do is maybe you worked there 10 or 15 years, you've got an old 401k, you roll it over into an IRA, you're still contributing to your new employers, but you have that money. So we see not just the self-directed folks, but regular people who have just changed jobs and now find that they have access to funds that they didn't previously have access to. And the other thing, the big question I always get is, well, can I self-direct my traditional, my SEP, my Roth? And the truth is yes, you can self-direct all of those IRA structures. It's not just for traditional funds.
So if I have only got $50,000 in an IRA and $50,000 in a SEP IRA and $50,000 in a 401k that's rolling over, I could still go buy. I would set up 3 accounts with you, or just
that's
one
actually
account?
one account. You can combine all of those into the same
so
account.
So we
They're
could
all
have you
traditional
contact
funds.
I'll roll over all the funds and go buy a property.
That's right. Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. So as one transaction, that's pretty
That
sweet.
is correct. One transaction, one account.
So very good. We talked real estate. We talked investments. I have a bunch more information here. Interesting lawsuits. Interesting folks returning from the market. Carnival Cruise Lines. Lots of different good stuff. But I'm sure we'll be back with Jeff next week.
Carnival Crash Lines?
Hey, there's some good deals right now.
Yeah.
Come and get them while they're hot. So lots of great information. Appreciate you guys all here with me today. I'm John Fotoraro with Comstock Mortgage, Vince Mastraka with Lion Real Estate, Samantha Hall with polycomp.net, and appreciative Jeff Tarbell having us all on. And you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Aloha.